Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda. I am a small reseller. I sell on eBay and as of recently also knickknacks. If you haven't checked out knickknacks yet or haven't heard of it, there is a link in the video description as well as on my YouTube channel page. There's a link as well to my eBay store. Feel free to go over and check both of those out and check out the other sellers on knickknacks as well while you're there. You don't have to buy anything. Feel free to just go check it out. I've pulled some more inventory and gotten it ready to start getting it listed and thought I'd go over it with you real quick. So let's get started. In a previous video where I was going around the shop and kind of just showing bits and pieces of the inventory that I have, I had come across kind of a glimpse of the cups here that were sitting on my shelf and mentioned, yes, I do have the 1980s Country Goose Libbey glass pattern. A few of them anyway. Somebody had commented and said they may be interested in buying these. So I went ahead and said, I'll clean them up and I'll get them listed and let you know. And so I did that. I got them listed yesterday and I thought, well, we'll go ahead and take a look at them. You guys probably are all pretty familiar with this. It's not a terribly uncommon pattern, but it is a like resurfacing collectible. This was really big in the 80s and early 90s and you saw them everywhere. This decor is definitely coming back around. I know that these are collectible and that's why when I saw these in the thrift store probably a couple years ago, I went ahead and picked them up. I didn't get a full set, but I got 3 of these 16-ounce glass tumblers here. And then there were 4 of the smaller, I believe 12-ounce cups here. So, you know, not a full set, but a good 7 or so of them. They're all in perfect condition. They don't look like they've ever seen a dishwasher in their life. When I was looking up comps, I didn't find as many comps for specifically just the 16-ounce tumbler. The 12-ounce tumbler, though, seems to be probably the most prominent size available, or at least in the comps anyway. See on here the Libbey glass in the decal there. And then normally on Libbey glasses, you will see on the bottom kind of this faint L, and you can sort of barely make it out on this one. On these glasses and on some of the Libbey glasses, it's like they didn't put the L on there or it's real faint. And so these ones, you can barely see it on some of them. Some of them it almost looks like it's not there. But normally on Libbey glasses, you'll see that cursive capital L on the bottom, and that's the giveaway that it is Libbey. So I got these listed, like I said yesterday. Here is a photo of the listing I put up. I went ahead and just started them at $38 and of course have the make an offer option turned on. So we'll see where they wind up. So this guy here I found in a thrift store. He originally, when I found him, I was not familiar with Chinese mudmen, which is what he is. When I found him, it was like they had like painted him with like a cheap acrylic paint. So like his whole robe had been painted over white and they had even painted over on his face and stuff. And I don't know why they did. They made him look more like a ninja is what they had done. I'd gotten him home. I just thought he was weird looking, and that's honestly why I picked him up. And then I got him home, and just as I was cleaning him up, started noticing like this green underneath here. I started peeking more and more, and then I started realizing, oh my gosh, he has like a whole thing going on underneath this that this outer coat was not intended. So I was able to remove it all without damaging him. You may be able to sort of see a little bit of the white remnant still in there. But I don't want to take any paint removers or thinners and stuff to him because I just don't want to damage the color. This here is bisque, for lack of better words. It's left unglazed, and it is the same color as the clay that would have been used. So this to me it's like a light brown color. So this guy here is not one of the antique ones. They've been making these for over 1,000 years. They're very, very collectible. Some of these can sell in the thousands. They go to the big auction houses, you know, Some of them can be incredibly valuable. My understanding when researching it is that originally these were made to help make like artistic, like bonsai plants and stuff like that more realistic. They would have like scenery, they would add rocks and little huts and, you know, different types of buildings and stuff, and then they would make these figurines to also set in there as decorative pieces, just to add a more realistic effect to the scene. That's what these guys were used for. They were put in fish tanks and stuff like that too, from the information that I found. And I'll be honest with you, and this is kind of what I've talked about before with the going to the internet as your primary resource for researching things. Not that it's not an amazing resource and you can find great information out there, but I was finding that literally word for word plagiarism, very blatant plagiarism. And I don't know who was the first author of this, you know, few paragraphs of history and information on these types of pieces, but it seemed like every website I went to had literally word for word the exact same info. And so on these guys, at least online, from the little bit of digging around that I have done thus far, there's just not a ton of information out there. So what I'm going to share with you is that little bit of information from that, you know, couple paragraphs. They were talking about how to date these, and one way is the markings on the bottom. So, you know, in 1890, 1891, McKinley Tariff Act, they had to start marking imports coming in. So you'll find the China mark here impressed, but on mine, you'll also see, and I'm not sure what this mark actually says, it's pretty faint, but because of that red mark being on there also, I feel like this piece is like a 1940s and maybe later. The ones that are impressed on the bottom and they will say just China or just Hong Kong are the ones that are made circa 1890 to 1919. When they start saying things like made in China, made in Hong Kong, those are the ones that are 1920 to 1944. And I think that they started adding the red stamp part in the late 40s, like following World War II. The other thing you'll notice on here is that the base is, you know, pretty smooth. The old, like antique ones are oftentimes going to be open on the bottom. They'll be kind of thin walled. Those are the ones that are going to be more handmade. They did, and I believe typically the smaller ones, I could be wrong on that, but I think the ones that are entirely hand molded, I think are the smaller sized figurines. But the larger ones, they would oftentimes have handmade molds that they would then hand press the clay down into to get at the very least the torso, the body, the main element of the figure, and then they would come in and they would add in additional details to the face. The difference with this one here, now while he looks incredibly detailed, and he is, but I do think this is all entirely hand formed. Normally on their eyes and nostrils and stuff, you're gonna see like little pinholes, you know, and those pinholes are all hand done. So none of them are the exact same, but I don't really see the pinholes on him. It's more the features are painted, but you can tell that he is hand painted for sure. And then his outfit is, you know, this heavy lead glaze, Majolica. So it's very Majolica-like. This is, you know, I like the colors of this and everything, but I think these colors, these kind of lighter, brighter colors, I think I've heard in the past that that's kind of indicative of the newer, more contemporary pieces. The ones that kind of have the darker colors and stuff tend to be the older ones. The other thing with on the inside of him, you notice on the base this like vent hole here, and it's hard for me to show you on here, but if you look down in, it almost looks like it was poured into a mold is what he looks like. And so that alone right there tells me he is a more contemporary piece. On the ones that are truly older, you're gonna see like the fingerprints in here. You'll see evidence of it being handmade and looking handmade. You'll see the evidence of it on there. He's not terribly valuable. They do carry some value, and the real valuable ones can go for a lot of money, but you know, he's still pretty detailed and everything. Now, to a hardcore collector, these guys aren't generally the ones they're hunting for. They're looking for more of the genuine antique ones, typically. He does have some damage. I believe this guy is called like the medical sage, something like that, like medicine man, medicine sage, something like that. And this is like his, I don't know, a gourd, probably with medicine or something in it that he's carrying here. But however this looked on the top of here, well, it doesn't look like that anymore. And then this, his little, I don't know, satchel thicket of twig things here. This had some kind of little top on it that I guess got knocked off. So yeah, I don't know if after the damage and then they just said to heck with it, I'm turning him into a ninja. I don't know how the painting him entirely white thought came around, but somebody thought it was a good idea. I was just really happy I was able to get him all cleaned up without damaging him any further than he currently is. But these you're oftentimes going to find with damage like this. You can find them in good condition though. I'll put a couple comps up on the side of the screen here. I feel like I'll probably put him at $8 and put him to auction is where I'm going to go with it. Let people decide, you know, with the damage on him and stuff. He's not damaged to the point that he can't still be displayed and everything. He still looks cool. And I mean, honestly, you don't notice this until you really are looking at it. So he'd still be a really cool display piece and everything. But I figure I'll let collectors figure out what they want to pay for him, you know, with that bit of damage and stuff. So, but I was glad I was able to save him. All right, guys, the next one here is this Fenton thumbprint pattern, which is pretty recognizable from these little sort of honeycomb like pattern, but they call it thumbprint. It's in colonial blue. I think the first 3 colors that they came out with in the 60s were colonial blue, colonial pink, colonial amber. It was always colonial. Pink, blue, and amber were the first ones. And I think a few years later, they started adding in green and orange and things like that. I think black they did them in. But really cool, you know, kind of a heavy duty glass, good kitchenware glass, and absolutely beautiful. I love this color blue. I am definitely tempted to keep it. There's no chips, cracks. There's no issues that I can find on this guy. His foot is in perfect condition. It's like the day he was made. There's no mark on the base, and Fenton didn't start impressing or embossing the Fenton in the circle on the bases of their items until the early to mid 1970s. And so that's another indicator that he is, you know, a 1960s piece. The thumbprint pattern line went on for quite a while, which is how it wound up, you know, with such a wide variety of colors and stuff. And I'll put a few comps up on the side here. I think I might list him over on Knickknacks, get some pretty glass over there. But what a cool piece. I love that. It's almost like this electric ice blue. I love it. It's called colonial blue, not electric ice blue, but it's awesome. I really, really, really like it. And I love that there's no damage on it. But this is that thicker glass that, you know, it can take the kitchenware. So I'm down. I like it. Okay, so these next things here, I'm trying to remember if I got these. I think they were in a lot. I don't even want to say that they were extras. I think I'd just gotten like a lot of, sometimes they'll name them things like junk drawer lot and men's junk drawer lots. I love getting those ones that look like they were a man's junk drawer, because they always come with the neatest odd things. But these are book plates, and I'm not sure specifically what metal this one is. I kind of feel like it might be lead maybe, I don't know. I don't know what this contraption is. It says figure 1 and it says figure 2, and I don't know what's going on here. It looks pretty intense. It looks like something engineer-like. This looks kind of astrological to me in a way. But I don't know. There's no markings or anything on the outside of the block that I can see or make out. But, you know, it's a printing press book plate, you know. Book plates can go for pretty good money, but from what I was seeing when I was looking it up, it's hit and miss. I feel like the ones that can stand on their own, specifically the ones with cool pictures in them, seem to do a little bit better. I think people who do crafting, scrapbooking, things like that. I think they like to get these. I know people like to get them, you know, to display and things like that too. You know, I'm sure that there are some that go for really good money. A lot of the ones I was seeing when I was looking just for generalized comps on book plates, I don't know, it depended. They were typically in lots of a lot of them, 10 or more probably, and they would do maybe $20, $30, something like that, sometimes less. I think it really just depends on what the plates are. So this one here does have somewhere, it has a little, you might be able to kind of see it now. It's like a rectangle with a sort of diamond shape on the side or on the inside of it. And then over here, I think it says 947. The little letters inside of the rectangle there are IPEU, which stands for International Photo Engravers Union of North America. They were a labor union formed in 1904 to represent half-tone photo engravers. Successor union of them is the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, as well as Change to Win Federation. Yep, that's who it was. So half-tone printing, and I would suggest, honestly, that you go and just look up that term, half-tone printing or engraving, things like that, and read up on it. But basically, you can see the difference in these two. See how this one's like real thick, real heavy engraved, and this one's like almost flat looking. And when you're touching this one, this here almost feels like slightly gritty, you know, sandpaper, like a screen. But that's because that's exactly what it is. It's a screen. In order for them to shade things in the book, there's no way to put on here and have different tones of gray to, you know, white to gray to black show up. So they came up with this like screen type thing on here that would allow for shading. So like I tried to do tracing paper over it, and this just like the design doesn't even show up. It says figure 5, and then it has some ridiculously complicated geometry type things going on here. Another wheel, figure 6. I have no clue what book this would have come. Is this a physics book? I don't know. I don't know. I do think it looks cool. Is this something like electrical? These kind of look like lightning bolts. I don't know. I don't know. So, you know, I notice a lot of times these are sold at auction, and that may be part of the reason why they don't carry much value, at least on eBay. I'm sure that you could go to other like true collector websites of these sorts of items, and they probably go for a little bit more money. But these particular designs, I don't know who's looking for engineering, physics type book plates. I don't know. And I have no way to gauge where to value them at. I have a rough idea of their age just based on the mark that's on it, but outside of that, I have no clue. So I think I'll just wind up putting them on auction. I think they're a good one for eBay to put on auction and see how they do. If anybody knows anything on these or has any additional comments or information just on book plates in general, things to look for and stuff like that, please drop the information down below. It'd be really, really helpful. This guy here is gorgeous. I'm surprised to find out, I believe did also have a lid. Or at least they made one that was this identical like pattern that had a lid. But this is Viking glass, Viking art glass. Viking is pretty distinct. They're known for these big swinging drape like things here. That and the foot of them, which I think people refer to as petals. And you can kind of maybe see this sort of petal-like shape right here. So this one here has 3 petals on it. The base of it is typically always, you know, kind of indented a little bit, but it's always smooth and polished and nice. I don't think Viking really ever marked their glass outside of stickers and stuff. I don't think that they ever had like an embossing on it or anything that I recall. You know, these are pressed glass pieces and heavy duty glass that good can withstand some roughness glass, but they're just cool. I mean, that's a lot of character going on for such a basic piece though. But, you know, when I was trying to find comps on this, I was seeing all these ones that had lids, but when I look at the edge of this, like, this is perfectly rounded. Like, there's no lip or anything that would tell me it's a lid. I thought it was just like an open pedestaled compote, but apparently they're supposed to be a lid. I don't think there's a terribly high value on these pieces in particular, but Viking glass can do extremely, extremely well, especially when you get into them swung vases and things like that. So keep an eye out for Viking glass. Go online and just kind of familiarize yourself with their pieces and stuff. Again, they're usually, if you know, this kind of like big drape, big swoops and stuff. They did a lot of the handkerchief vases and stuff like that. So keep your eyes out for it. I would venture to say this one maybe would sell for $30. That's probably where I would expect. I could see it going for a little bit less, potentially slightly more, but I don't know. Give or take around $30, I would think. Okay, guys, last up. Pink depression glass. I have a set of 4 of these little tumblers. They're all in perfect, like, brand new condition. No chips, no cracks. Absolutely beautiful. They have this fleur de lis, however you say that, design down here. And that's also the same design that's up top here. And then, of course, it has this, this sort of like ribbed optic sort of thing going on. I usually see termed as ribbon a lot of times. And you can definitely, you feel it on the inside rather than the outside. And you just kind of these little, you know, vertical ribs in there. Super pretty pieces in that real delicate pink. I really, really like them. And I didn't find any inclusions in the glass and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they look well done. You know, of course, they would have been pressed glass and everything, but I feel like I found at some point the name of this pattern and now I can't find it. And so I didn't know if any of you guys recognized who maybe made this and possibly what the pattern is. I'm going to spend a little bit more time trying to hunt it out. Wow, look at how cool that is. That is neat. That is really neat. But I have the set of 4 of them. These are, I'm guessing like juice tumblers is what they'd be called. I don't have any comps to put up for you because I don't know the pattern and stuff. Just based on what they are, pink depression glass, you know, a little more elegant type. I could see this set just based on that selling for, you know, between $20 and $40. I don't know. Knowing what the pattern is and who made it could make a difference in that. So if any of you guys out there recognize it and can help me out, that would be great. I would very much appreciate it. All right, guys, that is it for this one. A little bit maybe shorter video than normal, but that's okay every once in a while, right? I again want to thank everybody that tunes in to my videos and hangs out, watches the whole thing. It means so much to me, you know, like I said before, to the channel and all that stuff, but it means a lot to me. And I really want you guys to know that. So I really want to make an effort to thank you guys for that. I'll be getting all this stuff listed. The Country Goose glasses, I already have live in my eBay store. If you're interested, go check them out. I think I'm going to put a few of these things up to auction, and I've got a little bit more research to do on these, but otherwise everything should be up and going either by later tonight or early tomorrow. But I enjoy hanging out with you guys. It's been fun as usual. I'll see you on the next one.